What up, y'all? How you doing? This is your boy Gerald. It is the 31st, November 2015. We are one step away from December, y'all. We're going to enter into a new month, which will be the conclusion of your year. There will be the period, the exclamation point, or the parentheses of what this year stood for. You ready for it? Hmm? Because it's right next door. That's right. You're going to have new memories, new experiences. You're going to have new growth. But none of that can take place if you're not in proper position to receive what is coming. Now, I'm not trying to sound like the boogeyman, like, ooh, grim, and nah. That's what growth is all about. These are things that have to take place in your life because it's already written. These are all the makings of you. This is the foundation that is known as your legacy, your epitaph, that hash mark that's going to be found on that headstone. And it just amazes me that, every day you wake up, you breathe in air, you're given an opportunity to say once again, thank you. And, time marches on. It will continue to tick, tick, tick away. As I used in the last video I put out, our life is more or less a metaphor of the hourglass. The sands are elements, reflections, and illustrations of your life. I kind of understand why I think it was Days of Our Lives, they used to always, that was their part of their promo of that soap opera. And as I get older, the relevance, it's like, wow, you know. So, with that being said, I got my coffee going, and as I'm preparing my day, the question that came from my spirit was, where are you going to be in 5 years? What do you wish to see manifested in 5 years' time? And as I started moving around in my place and got to take care of Tyson, he's like the son I never had, the more I thought about it, the more I pondered it. And as I went outside and I took in, because I've got foliage around where I live. I've got natural, there's a natural area. We're not too far, right outside where my place is. And normally what I do is I connect to nature as he's doing his business, and I give thanks. You know, I know somebody might right now, you may say, well, Joe, I would like to do that, but where I lay my head, that is not afforded to me. You may live in the city, and you're like, man, I wish I could see it. I wish there was a tree around here. I would like to touch a tree, look at the leaves, look at the birds. And you're saying, well, only birds I see are pigeons. And all they do is get in the way and crap on stuff. I know. I understand that. Been there. But I also know that in the intended time, you are going to be able to see the things that you deem beautiful. And in the intended time, you will have that opportunity to tap into nature's splendor. Because these are all things that are representation of God's splendor. But to get back to my point, it seems ever so clear that our society, let alone our community, are starting to forget about the things that matter most, such as our mortality. And we're not allowing ourselves to take that extra attention step that is needed. So the more I pondered, as I'm waiting for him to handle his business, because he's taking it in too. Tyson is. He's like looking around and trying to find where he was last, and it dawned on me, and I was like, haven't you noticed the things that we deem priceless are the things that we tend to take for granted? And that it always seems to have something come back, or something that you're faced with to kind of, bring clarity there, to bring you back into the importance of what that was. And I heard something today on the news, and I don't know what it was about in regards to, it was a celebrity, and the person was saying, well, it seems like their life is one big storyline. And all that did was, for me, it just said, your life is not a storyline. Your life is an experience. And not everybody is going to be privileged to experience that. I'll do one better. For those who may know or are familiar with Natalie Stewart, one half of the group Floetry, when she decided to go and put out her first album, she had a song out called Breathe. If you've never heard the song, I highly recommend. Just go right up there, put in Natalie Stewart, Breathe. Listen to the lyrics. But one of the things about that song that was so moving, because I'll be honest with you, the first time I heard the song, I immediately shut it off. I shut that song off quick. He said, well, why'd you do that? I did that because what she was conveying in the lyrics, I wasn't ready to accept. Real talk. I wasn't ready to take accountability in how that emotionally connected to me. And I know a lot of times people find they find false comfort in not dealing with the things that trouble them so much. So that's why I'm asking you. Now, you may already have yourself together, but you already know this too. You're not promised tomorrow. You're not promised that next hour. That's a fact. You could be tip-top, physically in shape, go to sleep, and wake up paralyzed. Or worse, lose your sight, lose part of your senses, or be stricken with a medical ailment that you have to make life changes to deal with. Does it not surprise you nowadays, y'all, that people are so cavalier when it comes to their health? I remember 25 years ago, when you heard the word HIV, it brought up a ominous cloud. Nobody wanted to talk about it. Nobody wanted to have anything to do with that. Not with a 10-foot pole. They didn't want to. They didn't want to go there. Why? Because that is truth. And yeah, real talk. Some people have a mindset of it'll never happen to me, but it does. But as we are progressing, as the years are going by, people are not allowing that to be a death sentence per se, because they're starting to identify that, hey, you know what? When I decide to take accountability, I'll change the way I think. And when I change the way I think, I'll also change my perceptions. So, indirectly, your life and what you see as your reality will shift, good or bad. It depends on how soon you want to take accountability for your life. Why do you think I keep saying, my kings and queens, take your life back? I don't say it out of a position of negativity. I convey that as a position of empowerment, because you do a disservice every day that you do not speak your truth. Every day you do not ground your feet. Every day you do not take accountability for the choices you make. This is what free will is. The two gifts God ever gave you was the ability to unconditionally love yourself and free will. But with both those gifts, there was a responsibility that came with that. That's why when you do not see the value of your self-worth, you always see the outcome not in your favor. You always see the disappointment. Now, I wasn't going to put this in here, but I got to convey this because I know this. I've been charged, I've been convicted to speak this from my spirit. Last 5 days, I start my day and end my day the same way, in prayer. And I try to stay connected in the midst of my day with God. That's just who I am. And I started to see correlations of events play out that got my attention, and I didn't understand why I was seeing it. I kept hearing the same theme. I kept seeing examples play out, and I didn't know why. Hold that thought. Let's go in reverse. I had a dream last week, and the dream was like as if I was privileged to look into someone else's life, like a proverbial fly on the wall. And it was a woman. And this woman was living a double life. And what I mean by that, proverbially, like she had a social mask. So from the outside, she projected herself one way, but behind closed doors, she was someone else. Now, proverbially, that's us, to a degree, because underlining there is that intimacy with yourself. You know, there are certain things in your behaviors and your growth that you do that are not privileged to the world. Only a select few have access. You know, those are your friendships, your bonds. May it be your family, may it be your companionship, or even your professional affiliations. Well, so I had this dream. I saw this woman, and every time she went home, there was never no, it was always dark. It was like she would walk into a cloud, and she's feeling for herself. She's feeling her way. She's feeling her way. And there's no light. It's darkness. And the only way that she kind of has a sense of guidance is because she is involved. She's involved with with a demon, and he has literally put shackles on her. I'm not talking about no 50 Shades of Grey. I'm talking big chains, and she's like, you know, she's enslaved there, and this being, this entity, does everything he can to tear her down from the inside out. Any type of thought he can come up, even some abstract stuff, he's exploiting this woman, and he is pretty much mutilating her from the inside out, and she can't break from him. She can't break from him because she doesn't see her worth. This person has emotionally enslaved the way she thinks. So she's no different than, a dog on a leash. That's the best way I can explain it. And she keeps going back. She keeps going back. She keeps going back. And you would never know it from the outside, but she cries inside herself. Inside herself, her mind and body are one, and she can hear herself think as of to say, okay, kind of like when a, if you've ever experienced or have seen this, when a abused abused spouse, or male or female, uh, when the abuse has gotten to a point over a period of time, they will emotionally disconnect from whatever's happened. They will kind of like a emotional blackout. So they get to this point in their psyche where they're like, okay, I know you're about to hit me again. I can hear it in your voice. No matter what I'm doing, I do things exactly as you asked me to do, but it's not good enough, and I need to prepare for the abuse. And the sad thing about it is, inside herself, she's crying for help. She's crying for help. But her mouth don't move outside that door. It's like this demon has figured her out and has put so much fear in her, like, you know what, if you go tell them, I'm going to hurt them. And I'm going to make sure that you know that it was from me. Then I'm going to get you. So she's living in fear, and she's got a certain psychosis about herself. Now, and it's dark. It's like it's a dark environment inside where she lives. It's evil. Just I'm trying to find the words to express it, but that's the only way I can come up. And this this guy enjoys. He's a demon. He enjoys inflicting emotional pain. He gets off on it, but she stumbled on the fact where she understood. It's kind of like a spiritual version of Beauty and the Beast. She saw glimmers of potential, and from the outside, he might have status. He may seem to have it together, but there's still, kind of like I'm feeling in my spirit right now. It's like the fable of the mouse and the lion. It's like, he just needs to be loved. He needs to be loved. Let me pull that thorn out. But from the lion's perspective, he's like, yeah, go ahead, pull that thorn out. But little do you know, I'm gonna keep you around long enough. But I'm gonna eat you either way, because you shouldn't have never been there. And people have come along to render assistance. People have actually done. I feel this now, like someone's pulling you out of there. Like, let's go. This is not where you should be. And there's some Stockholm syndrome going on. You're defending the abuser, but yet you're tormented inside. And you watch, and I'm seeing this in this dream. She's like she's on a board or something, and being stretched out, and this guy's medieval. He's doing some very barbaric stuff, and the thing about it is, if it ever came out, he'd be lucky that he breathes. And you know that you have the key to free yourself, but you're afraid because that is your comfort zone. That's all you know. This is, you're saying to yourself, well, yeah, I'm dealing with this, but he's better than him. You know, he still shows me attention. He still gives me what I want, but I need more. And the person has looked at you and laughed and have called you out of your name and like, bitch, if you don't get your ass over there, excuse my French, but that's how his disposition is. So you're kind of like a castaway on your own emotional island, and you're frustrated. You're frustrated, and you're tired of crying inside yourself. But for some reason, you feel shame to show emotion for yourself. And I think a lot of it is because of what you saw in your development. Your friends don't show emotion, so you gotta monkey see, monkey do. And he has this pet name for you, and you hate it. You hate it. I don't know why. I can breathe now. I can breathe now because I kept seeing this play out. You know, like a triangle between people, a lot of shifting the, you know, where you at? Oh, I'm over here. Okay, you ain't over there. You over here. But they're like, doesn't matter. You're gonna come back either way it goes. And just you're in your hell. That's the only way I can see it. And right now, the devil thinks he's winning because you're assessing the bruises. You know how to hide your bruises really well. But guess what? You can't hide that heart. You can't hide that woe that you carry. It's coming out of you. You're starting to see it. Your weariness is, and it's, you know, kind of like when the Rude Boys, um, back, I think it was 94, 95, came out with the song, "It's Written All Over Your Face." It is. It is. And you don't smile anymore. You know, kind of tight, kind of tight jawed at times, and you're like this. I don't know who that is for, but if this is you, your breakthrough's coming. You're gonna see things play out that are gonna shake you, but it has to happen. It has to happen. Just know that what's being required is you gotta go back. You gotta go all the way back to that first disappointment in your life. That one. And then look at the correlations of when you started tapping into your sexuality. And then look at the people that you have aligned yourself with. You'll see a distinct theme. You'll see it. I know somebody's shook right now because you're like, he talking about me. That's because you're loved. But what's required is you love yourself. And I got this feeling like somebody is sitting back in a cut and like, you know what? Didn't I tell you to shut your mouth? I have been brazen about it. Like, I told you shut your mouth, and if you don't, you know what's up. And actually, I've actually said, you know what? You think I'm playing? Remember that day? And you know exactly what they're talking about because automatically you identified to it because there was some furniture moving. And that's number one. But you also understood what happened in that car, too. I know I'm talking to someone. And this can apply for male or female. I know I feel somebody's energy. I got a feeling that somebody's saying, thank you, my angel. I just got my validation. I'm looking on the floor and I see there's a rubber band. I don't know where it came from, but it's on the floor. It's a number 8. My life number is a number 8. My pendants are 3 8s. That means my angels are telling, yeah, you're talking to somebody. You're talking to them, and they're doing this right now. Like he's on point. He's talking about me. Your life is about to change the moment that you decide. Number one, to breathe. Number two, take accountability for what you've done, because you'll come to understand that every disappointment that you have seen, and it may have been habitually like, damn, I can't catch a break. Go back and you'll come to see that there was something that you've done too. And that's why it's playing out right now. You may just say, well, you may think, well, Gerald, that's just karma, but I just got bad luck. You don't have bad luck. What you have is bad influence. And where you're seeking support can't help you because they choose not to change. That's why you're tired of running inside. And then you went through this period of where you're saying, well, you know what? I just don't give a. I'm going to do whatever I want, how I want, or whoever I want. And you were like, to justify, you're saying, well, I ain't married. When I get married, I get serious. Well, how did that work out? I know I'm talking to somebody. Because deep down inside, all you've ever wanted was to feel emotionally safe, emotionally loved, and emotionally protected. But guess what? Those 3 descriptive words are all found in God. You're wondering, like, why am I working so hard? I'm working my fingers to the bone, and I don't understand when is this going to end. You may be feeling that about your finances right now. Every time you get some money, just as quick as you get it, bam, there's something you got to take care of. You can't never get a, you know. I know I'm talking to somebody. That's why I convey this. 2016, you're going to have to make that decision. Before the last chime hits, you're going to have the courage to let go of those people. Somebody may say, well, Gerald, I can't do that. It's easier said than done. I can't. I'm married. But if there's no love in it, why are you there? Why are you there? Who are you fooling? You trying to keep up with the Joneses? The Joneses don't give a shit about you. They never did. I say this out of love, y'all, no disrespect, because this also goes back to my main point. Haven't you noticed, y'all, that you have people that have been connected to your life that 5 years ago, they're still doing the same thing they're doing now? Is that coincidental? You're growing, but they're not. And it hurts. It hurts to see someone, instead of knowing that they should be soaring to higher heights. Some of my parents may be going through this right now. You're so concerned about your babies. You're concerned about your babies because your babies are, in figurative words, smelling themselves, and you try to get them to understand the errors of their ways because you see yourself in them, and you don't want them to play out the same mistakes at a heavier price. Because as the decades roll by, so does the outcomes, and it's got you frightened. Well, all you can do is pray, work on you, but at the end of the day, we all have free will. I know some of y'all may be in this right now. You've got some grown-ass kids, and they're looking at you with straight up disrespect. Straight up disrespect. You know why they're looking at you that way? Because inside their heart, they're saying this: why do you expect me to change when you ain't changed? Real talk. I know I'm talking to somebody. But I can flip this too for my kings. I know right now, things are starting to look up for you, but there's a void there. And you're like, I can't buy happiness. I can go out and get this high-end vehicle or house or whatever, but what I need can't be bought. What you are longing for is the connection of your children or your child. That's right, my kings. 2016 is going to be that year that you rebond with that estranged child or children. You're going to finally have the courage to present yourself as the man that you were already destined to be. Because time is moving forward. You can't worry about what she's doing. You can't make her grow. But you are required as the father to represent. Because trust and believe when I say this, all children return home. They always do, no matter how far they go. So you got to be prepared for them. And maybe this is the moment that you are ready to be in their lives too. Maybe you couldn't be in their lives because of choices made. But guess what? If you want your child or children to have a successful life, you have to put your connection. Why do you think they give us two parts of the brain, left and right? One half is yours, one half is hers. So now it's time to help unlearn habits and patterns. But the best illustration is through your actions. Because don't mind this, your actions speak louder than any word can be found. I know I'm talking to somebody. Your heart breaks because you long for that connection. You filled with guilt of not being there. And you were in a place where you said, well, Gerald, as long as I put clothes on their back and I feed them and give them what they want, that should be good enough. That's why you got the result you got now, because what was already needed was that attention, that love. But guess what? Even in their young development, they got to get past their anger. They got to get past that resentment. Because anger and distance is nothing but love displaced. You understand that, right? You can't hate somebody unless you love them. Now, I know that needs to go out to someone. That's why I always say, if you don't know what the meaning of those three words, I love you, means, if it does not have placement or it does not resonate inside you, why do you think you're seeing what you see? Huh? Come on, kings. Why is it that you can never quench the thirst of companionship when you are out there knocking them down? But in the back of your mind, you're saying, I want my queen. I want the one that has earned the right to have my last name and walk into my destiny together. There's a reason behind that. There's a reason behind it all. Excuse me, because I know the devil's a liar. That's why you hear that. I'm not going to answer that because you guys mean more to me. Because I know somebody's feeling this right now. You feel emotionally displaced. You feel like, well, Gerald, I had to leave this situation because I was losing my mind. But really what you were losing was your spiritual alliance with yourself. Because before you became a parent, you was a child. Before you was a child, you was a spirit. I know I'm talking to someone. So you got to get on point. That little boy and that little girl, why you've even convinced yourself, well, I'm tired of hearing the voices inside me. That's your discernment that is not fortified. Don't you realize every time you've had a disappointment, what happened? There was that red flag. Don't do that. You don't know them. Don't give them that money. And you didn't listen. You didn't listen because of how it was patched. It was how it was packaged together because that's what the devil wanted you to do. The devil was like, nah, they're good for it. Yeah, they were good for that pain. They were good for that exploitation. That's why you had to get them stitches. I know I'm talking to somebody. You're saying to yourself, I'll never love again. Well, you're right. If you stay on the path that you're on, you're right. You ain't got to worry about loving again because you still have yet to love yourself. And that is something that I've learned too. Because society likes to romanticize the fantasy of love from the position of a child to even today. You start off as a child, you see Walt Disney films. As you get older, you start seeing TV shows that have a certain theme. Now in this generation, we know it is reality TV, but we all know there is no reality in those TV shows but mockery. And as you get older, you start to embrace relationships, but yet if you don't have a relationship with yourself, it fails. Why? Because that's not where you were supposed to be to begin with. And I say that out of love and compassion. Please do not take what I'm saying as a means to attack you. I'm not. I've been there. But I also know this. When you get knocked down, you stay down there as long as you do until you decide to have the courage to stand up. You might not be able to take that first step, but guess what? You should have the courage to stand up and dust yourself off. And while you're dusting yourself off, you take that moment to reflect on where you are. You take that opportunity to look at who is in that environment and what and how they make you feel. If they do not spawn growth, or better yet, if they don't have a relationship with God, how are they going to have a relationship with you? But I know somebody's saying, well, Gerald, I love the way he makes me feel. Don't you realize the devil's all up in that? He'll gladly use that person's body to distract yours. Why you think you're getting sick? Why you think you're getting sick? Every time you have intimacy, lust, you are exposing your spirit into theirs and theirs into yours. And you will never fully know someone. So guess what? If they got darkness in them, it just had a one-way ticket inside you. That's why you see this all the time. Whoever has the stronger of the two spirits, the weaker one will conform to it. It will start to act, talk, and even dress. The mannerisms. You're like, that ain't you. Why are you acting like that? Because you're witnessing that person's spiritual influence. So mix this together. Say if you're out there playing the field. Come on, King. You out there dipping your dipstick in more than one. Now, mind you, birds of a feather flock together, so you got to have a commonality because that's what makes up our desires. Or how we say, oh, I like them like that. If you start to peel the onion back, you'll start to see that every woman that you were connected with had a commonality underlying. The main one was you. So if you don't have yourself together, guess what? They're not going to have themselves together, no matter how well they try to display it. And usually, it always falls. That mask always cracks. It does. And you are forced to see the truth. But you know why that happens? Because even when you don't deserve it, God's still there to give you mercy and say, you know what? No matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you try to run, no matter how hard you try to lie to yourself that it didn't exist. Some of y'all do that. You will convince yourself in your mind that pain never existed and you blocked it out. Guess what? Why you think your reality is where it is right now? Because you got to go back and look at that pain. You got to release yourself from that pain. You got to admit to yourself your part in it. That's why when you hear people say it just happened, no, it did not. You made a conscious choice to go there. That's why all doors are not meant to be walked through. Even if the door is open, doesn't mean you're supposed to walk in it, because you have to take ownership of what's on the inside waiting for you to walk in. Isn't that like a trap? I'm just saying. I love each and every one of y'all. But now I believe that we as a people, we as a community, we as a culture, we as part of the human race, you can't run from you. Stop running. Stop trying to be like the next person. Stop. They'll never see what you see. They'll never feel what you feel. That's why I say this. Your life is not a storyline. Your life is an experience. But if you have not taken the time to fall back in love with yourself, ground your feet. Some of y'all just need to sit down. Some of you need to heal medically, emotionally, spiritually. That's why that door is still closed to you. And it's going to remain there, because guess what's on the other side of that door? Your real life, your real blessings, your real truth. Because everything thus far, what you're going through right now, is nothing the makings of your testimony. Letticy said it best. The pieces of me. Jill Scott echoed it in her last album. Pieces of me scattered. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, that song. They're speaking truth. But I don't know why I had that dream. I had this dream that, like I said, somebody is dealing with a torment. And it is, I really think deep down inside, what I'm feeling is you got a sexual addiction. And to mask it, you use your socializing as a means, as a covert way to get that acknowledgement, that validation through other people and experiences. Now, some of y'all may understand that as borderline narcissism, you know, but everybody also know that narcissism is nothing but a demon manifested in a human form. That's why they Everything's got to be in control and structured, seen a certain way. Don't worry about arguing with them because they will tell you whatever they want to tell you because you're dealing with the addict. They're looking for their high. Their high happens to be their emotional fix. So the exchange may be through sexual means. It may be through actual drug use or alcoholism. But it's impacting you to a point that sleep, you be lucky you get 4 hours. Because you feel that calling inside you. You feel it. I know I'm talking to someone. So queens, guard your temple. Kings, fortify your life. There's more in stake for your destiny than what is found between your legs. That's real talk. I got this feeling right now. It's like, but Gerald, I just want to have a baby. If I had a baby, I can unconditionally love that child, and I don't need nobody else. Guess what? You would be doing the worst disservice you could by bringing that child in the world now, because you're not ready. Doesn't matter what you got in the bank until you emotionally know who you are. That's a place of selfishness. That's right, my young queens. Having a child early, it will not fix that void you feel in your heart. Some of y'all have even plotted in your mind like, well, I don't need him, but I do want that connection. So if I have a child, that'll be the key. Do you realize how much pain you're going to incur later on in life? Wait. If it's divinely meant, you will have your family, and your family will be blessed the moment that you take your life back. That's when the shackles come off. Because what will happen is God is going to step in, and he's going to break off every connection that was forged off of that first life. I know I'm talking to somebody. And I got this feeling too. Somebody's contemplating having surgery. Somebody has convinced you, well, if you go get this surgery done, you'll be my perfect dream girl. Let me tell you something. You better run from that person. Don't look back. Because that person just verbally disrespected you because they just said, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. And they've been covertly been trying to brainwash you to say, well, you know what? Well, if I turn around and have that surgery, he'll love me more and give me more attention. You even think that by doing that, it'll keep him from looking at other things or other women. He may be looking at them online. You know, you see those things that make you insecure. Number one, your communication ain't on point. Number two, God is not in it. And number three, you're not loving yourself. So if you're not loving yourself, how can he respect you when you're not respecting him? And this could flip flop. This can flip flop. You might be a guy. You're thinking, well, you know, if I get back in the gym, you know, she gonna wanna be there because you know I got my paper on straight. You know, I'm doing everything that she asked. You know, but she ain't happy still. Why? Because she ain't the one. Not right now. If it's divinely meant that you're supposed to be with that person, gotta bring them back. But right now, you need to focus on yourself. Get your boundaries in perspective. Love yourself more. Allow yourself to be vulnerable with yourself. That means fall back in love with you. What about those hobbies that you love? You love doing these things, but you're embarrassed to tell them because they'll look at you like, why are you doing that? That's corny. That's the person you ain't supposed to be with. Because the person that's going to truly want to be in your life is going to embrace everything that makes you you. I know I'm talking to somebody. And lastly, my queen, look at the last 30 years of your life. 54, 55. You got this mindset of, well, you know what? When they finally grown, I can finally do me. But guess what? You were already doing you because that was what you were supposed to be doing. But you're saying, I'm tired of control. I'm tired of this life. And you're actually thinking that those side distractions that you got, yeah, you know, that stuff that people don't know that you're doing, that's where you want to be. But little do you know, that is not blessed. And you're going to lose everything because of it. But I'll say this. If you walked into that relationship with no love in it, it was already not blessed anyway. So all you're doing is perpetuating. You are the reason why you suffer, because you won't admit to yourself to do something different. I got this feeling like only time I cry, I gotta go in the closet or something. You actually have embraced the behavior. When you get so upset, you will get in your car and drive away. You'll go find a parking lot and boo-hoo, boo-hoo, boo-hoo. Even cutting? I got this feeling like something like you like to abuse yourself. Go talk to a therapist. Go talk to a counselor. Talk to somebody that does not have an agenda for your life. And just listen to what they have to say. I got a feeling that someone very pivotal is going to come into your life and it's going to feel like a breath of fresh air. And at first, you're going to be like, that's my knight. That's my Prince Charming right there. But Queens, just know this. This is for all of you. You don't want your Prince Charming. You want your king. Because you'll come to find out that Prince Charming was really nothing but the Prince of Darkness. God is praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. I had to pause for a second because I just had this feeling like some of y'all are really disappointed how your Thanksgiving turned out. I know I'm talking to somebody right now. Your heart just flooded. You put in so much effort for that, and no one appreciated it. They took it for granted. That's okay though, because guess what? The people that genuinely appreciate it are going to start coming into your life. Some may come back from your past. And I think you already know. You already know. You already know. You need to love yourself more. God is praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern it helps discern mine. I'm kind of shook because I'm thinking about that dream, and it's like you got that special drawer, it got everything in it. And that demon's like a mad scientist, like he's trying to pick your poison. Even if you do pick your poison, doesn't mean you gotta consume it. If you know somebody that this may pertain to, by all means, with all my videos, share them, put them out there. That's what they're for. Love each and every one of you, but it doesn't matter if you don't love yourself. Look to hear from you guys. Stay blessed.